Hey, right. So, fellas, um, the gist is there is no past the 3 days workouts. I'll get to that in a minute. Um, because obviously, yeah, I'll explain it. So, we have leg day today. So this isn't an intro or anything. It's leg day for me. The leg day video comes out tomorrow. So look forward to that, I guess. I mean, if that's, if you like watching the leg days, your thing. Anyways, uh, what is the time this morning? It's 9:30, so after this I'm gonna go eat and have whatever and start the eating for leg day. Not that I haven't eaten loads this weekend. Obviously, I told you I was going away. I got on there, uh, and then I realized that their equipment was subpar. I did try to get in a workout, but something about not having the same equipment and using different equipment that I didn't enjoy using, in the sense that the equipment wasn't really, I don't know, they had this lower back row, right? But it was offered two cables and it was like completely free like movement, but it was cable. So it just felt wrong. And I just personally didn't stand for it, right? I'm not saying there's anything wrong with people who enjoy that equipment, but personally, not for me. So there was no workouts. Food wise, though, obviously unlimited food because it was like all buffet. I ate a lot. However, the weird thing is, I haven't really gotten too much bloated. And in a scheme of things, I was late at night, after all my meals, I was standing in a mirror and I had natural abs, which just didn't make sense. But yeah, we brush over that part. And, at the end of the day, I'll just be grateful that I do have some sort of abs. Not that I need them. They're not really doing too much. Like, I mean, they are, but, having them on display isn't like the biggest deal ever. So, yeah, personally, I'm not too stressed if they disappear, and at the end of the day, if they do disappear, well, it means I've gained weight in some way, and my goal right now is to just bulk up and get heavy, right? Obviously, to the extent that most of it is muscle and whatever, and a few other factors there, being that I'm getting stronger or whatever, Mike Mentor sort of level ball knowledge here, as long as I'm getting stronger or something. No, he did say something like that. I'm not gonna fully word to word quote it because I don't know that quote off of hand. I familiarize with. I can sort of semi remember what he said. Um, Sorry, my mind just went blank. But yeah, so start eating soon. Obviously, probably not as much as what I was eating on holiday. But then I say that at least I know at home I can kind of, track it a little bit more than, our comment section is pretty cool recently. I just keep getting hype people, they just go, oh, looking good, man. I mean, there's one guy called Peter that keeps coming in my comment section. He's like, oh, keep going, man. I'm like, fair enough. I got a good support group from my friends and family and that, which is pretty good because you know you would have thought, well, I don't know. I assumed that a lot less people would be like, oh, like you can do this if that makes sense. So I don't know. The point is, uh, yeah, I mean, a lot of people were happy that I'm kind of striving for something good in the sense that I've got the commitment, and I'm willing to just kind of eat and stuff, which they don't want to do, because a few of my family and friends, they get in the gym and they go, good old Oliver, you guys, you would have seen him in, what was the video? The one metal plate, sound down, whatever I called it. The dude that was spotting me in that's Oliver. He's pretty good and consistent. And I think soon enough he wants to start doing some gym videos. I know he posts on TikTok a bit, but you guys probably don't see that. So, at some point, if I get another workout, I might introduce him a bit more. Um, that I don't know. He's when and if he wants to join the social media sort of sitch with me, because obviously I do the posting. I think he wants to do some of it too. I think we both want to see a bit of a progression sort of trail, right? I think the good part about what I'm doing is that I can see from point A to point B, right? And so back when I did my day 90 pose down, once I get to 200, 300, I can then look at posting the first pose down and the last pose down together and go, well, hold on, in this picture, I had a little bit less shoulder, I had a little bit less arm, I had maybe slightly more leaner, whatever, more striations here, but have you got more vascularity there, whatever. The point is, you can pick apart from point one to point B. I mean, obviously, you know, if you're not posting, you can still be taking videos and then going, oh, that's pretty good. But yeah, I mean, just to sort of go through something with you viewers, and you can see it yourself. So I know that I'm not going mental, right? Because sometimes I do look at certain things and I go, is that what I'm seeing? Sometimes I think when I first got that lat vein, I was like kind of freaking out. I was like, hang on a minute, how did that happen? But these things happen, and you can only be grateful for what you get, right? You can't be sitting there saying, I don't have this if you didn't work for it. In the sense of like, if you're just kind of bulking but you want to get lean, or you're not cutting, something like that, right? But those dudes that are working hard and then they accidentally find that they've gotten to a position where they're quite happy, kind of like me. I mean, obviously I have a set goal towards what I want to do and I know where I'm going with it. But when certain things like obviously, a quad striation or some sort of definition there where the medial head of your quad is kind of coming out, it is a shocker because you're like, oh wow, I've gotten to the point where I can now see all of the heads on my quad, and whatever, right? Anyways, apart from that, the point is hard work pays off, and I think as they said, there's like a statistic: the harder you work in anything, uh, the more successful you're likely to be. Obviously, I mean that's a basic statistic, there are outliers where people, get lucky randomly from no work, and there are people that get absolutely nothing from all the work. But then, I guess each their own, and everyone's circumstances are different, right? No one's expecting you to be just like the other guy, and the other guy doesn't expect to be like you, right? So, in some form, don't take it too harshly if you don't have the same gains as the guy next to you. Obviously that does come into play when I don't know if I told you this, but obviously when those 20-year-olds came up to me on the leg press and they're going, oh, you can do 400 but I can't, and obviously we complain about it, and I mean that's fine, you can complain about something, but then obviously you don't have to argue with the 17-year-old why you can't do something, right? It kind of comes into play when it's like Rich Piana, right? You go, well, that guy won. He did the better leg press, right? Just because you can't, he won and you lost. It doesn't matter how, just because I don't do muscle ups, I don't train for them, right? And I don't really want to do a muscle up. But I train leg press and I do it consistently, with a proper leg regimen. I'm gonna get a stronger leg press, right? So the point that Scott to be putting perspective, right, I could have a heavier bench if I trained for a heavier bench. But because I don't train for a heavier bench, I'm not going to have a heavier bench. Nothing wrong with that. Bench isn't, again, one of my main focuses. But, you know, the point is, someone that wants a heavier bench and then they look at the dude with the heavier bench, well, there's a bit of a, they want to catch up, which can easily be done, right? Catching up is, progression in anywhere can always happen. You just have to be willing to put in the work to find that progression to catch up, right? Obviously, if you and the dude next to you doing the exact same training and he's got a bigger rear delt, I don't really know what to tell you. Try and get him to stop doing rear delts. No. But you'll shine in other places that he doesn't, right? It's all genetics, or it's all, some sort of circumstance that you can't change, right? I forgot what I was going to talk about earlier. There was something to do with the equipment. No, right. Obviously, I stopped off in Belgium, so I'll show a couple pictures as I'm saying this. Like, I'll probably, you know how you do the overlay? I'll probably overlay it around and whatever. Belgium was beautiful. I mean, I had a nice Belgian waffle there. Oh, power. Oh, it was lovely. Right. Sadly, I didn't take a picture. I started eating, and then my mum goes, you should have taken a photo. I said, well, I'm kind of halfway through this now. A bit late. Could have warned me sooner. But I did get a few pictures of the chocolate shops there. As you know, I dabble in a sweet treat. We know this due to my TikTok and Instagram posts. I have a few pictures of some pretty nice meals. But not everything should be sweet treats. Me, I can pull it off because, I don't know, this is going to be a kind of a poor excuse, and someone might look at this later on and they'll go, oh man, not this guy. I'm not talking about that. But, I do have the metabolism to kind of, and I do the training to burn the sugar. In a sense, I can eat a lot of chocolate and still kind of come off of it well. And I mean, in a bulking concept, again, it's a calorie dense item, right? I'm just putting on weight and that's how it's going to work, right? Um, yeah, it's probably not the healthiest thing. There's probably some other things I could do. I could just eat straight carbs. But I think, at this point in time, there is no need for me to be super lean. There's no need for me to have 100% healthy foods. And like Lee Priest would say, eat what you want. If you're getting bigger and fatter, keep eating. And if you're trying to get leaner, eat a little bit less. You're getting a bit leaner, getting a little bit smaller, keep eating less. So, more of the story is, have a sweet treat. If it doesn't suit you and you end up just bloating and you lose progress on that, don't do it. But if you're the guy that can eat some sugar, have a dextro shake like Sam, why not? Because there are going to be benefits to having that sugar. And at the end of the day, it's not going to harm you unless you're, eating super doses of chocolate, right? If you're obviously, just slamming everything under the sun, probably not a good thing. But, a sweet treat here and there, can't be that bad, right? So, take a little bit of advice, test the waters. If it's not for you, don't do it. But, that's personally, yeah. So that's kind of the recap for the past 3 days. Obviously, no working out stuff, which is a bit annoying. I would have liked to have gotten a few videos done, but they did not even have Nautilus equipment on there. They ended up having this techno gym equipment, and it's fine, but like, it's not. They promised Nautilus, then they didn't have it, and yeah, it just put me off. And in general, the techno equipment was not good. They only had a leg extension and some sort of like half squat leg press thing and nah. Extension and some sort of like half squat leg press thing and nah. I'm not using that. Respectfully, you know, it's just not for me. And number one, I need a hamstring curl, um, you know, whatever. And number two, I'd rather have some sort of pendulum or hack squat or an actual leg press. I get that that's not really something you can just have on a cruise all the time, but I don't know. They had 75-pound dumbbells. I think if you can just sit there with 34-kilo dumbbells sitting around and a whole rack that's still kind of then weighing another 60 kilos, I think you can put a pendulum squat or a hack squat on there. And they would have had space if they got rid of some cardio equipment. So, you know, they definitely had space. They just didn't want to buy it. They didn't know equipment. Right? That's fine. Nothing against them. But yeah, so that's kind of what's happened. And now it's time to just get back into the grind. I mean, the good news is I've basically just had 4 days off. So I'm fully recovered, and in a way, hopefully, when I say fully recovered, I mean like all that pre-built fatigue from session to session to session should be gone, right? I should be back to square one, fully recovered. Fingers crossed I go in and I could have a pretty sick workout. And I don't see myself being any weaker, as obviously 4 days off isn't too bad. It's different if I had maybe a week, 2 weeks, but 4 days off, yeah, I could definitely go back in today and still get a good lift. So, yeah, the point is, today's a little recap, letting you know that tomorrow's leg day video will come out, and then obviously tomorrow I'll hit push down. That'll come out the day after. So that's all set, and now it's to just get back into the grind. So on that note, I'm gonna go start eating, and yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow for leg day. Yeah, have a good one, fellas.